Hi everyone. We are going to cover three critical news today, which have been trending whole time. One is the biggest one: Jews getting killed and Jews getting targeted and getting killed in Australia on their first day of their festival. Second is Zelensky says he's willing to drop the NATO membership for the peace talks, and the third one is U.S. authorities have decided to sell or fund, however you want to put it, the Pakistani military with another 600 plus million dollars. So we are going to discuss this in a bit more detail. Let me share my screen and we can get started. So thank you very much for joining in. My name is Rahul and let's catch up. So the first one is till the last I when I'm recording this video, 11 people have been killed in Australia, specifically from Jewish community and Bondi Beach. Please pardon me there. At least 11 people killed is the confirmation from the authorities. Uh, Shooting was directly targeted towards the Jewish community on Australia Bondi Beach. The attack took place when hundreds gathered to celebrate the first day of Hanukkah, and has government has declared that this is terrorist incidents and victims, including Israeli citizens and some, as per the foreign minister. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese described this attack as an act of evil, anti-Semitism, terrorist attack, and the heart goes for the people who were targeted, and Israeli officials reacted with horror and anger. Police also confirmed that there were two unknown suspects. One of them dead, while other is in a life-threatening condition in a hospital. Officers have secured and removed explosives and devices found in their near vehicle. Now, if you may have seen it or you may have gone through it, but if not, these have their origin in Pakistan, nothing new. They have been supplying terrorism to India. I think um, the penetration towards in India has been a little bit difficult, hence it's spilling over to other countries like Australia. Now, the rogue state may come back and say, no, these are the people who we don't own. These are some terrorist group we are also suffering from. Utter nonsense. Trump has reacted to it like other world leaders and called it that this is anti-Semitic, purely anti-Semitic attack and a terrorist attack. The irony is even Palestine has condemned this attack. Who set the precedence of killing Jews are actually president has been set by Germans. I cannot take that title, but overall, the if I see from the October massacre, then um, it's bit on a you can say rougher side where uh, single community has been targeted. The single community citizen have been targeted in another Western world. Now there are two options with a country in general which tries to brush these things up, saying that not important because certain community has a stronger vote bank and plus play actively politics and try to put it under the rug, saying that ये तो as we say it in India, ये तो भटके हुए नौजवान हैं. And liberals will come and pouring and will start giving them a cover fire. Oh, these are not representatives, these were some psychopaths, they may be flying from a country, but that country is very beautiful, people of that place love Australia, so we should not attack. Good for them, let them do it. It will be interesting to see how Israel or Tel Aviv is going to react for this. Are they going to avenge this, or is this going to be shot under their belly, and or it would be something which nobody have predicted how this may turn out. But at the end of the day, a very unfortunate incident. Uh, I don't see this being the last one. I hope that these incidents will stop, but seeing the instance going around the world, the dynamics changing, realignment happening, and it this is what happens if you start funding a terrorist country. That is what I'm going to cover in the third point as well, or the third news as well. But for from this unfortunate incident, I want to keep it to this level. Let's move to the next story. That is from the if we take it from the take a step back and see at the global level, the biggest headline, or the you can say the issue which world has faced or is facing right now, the biggest war. Russia calls it military operation. Zelensky and the Europe call it war. But whatever the analogy you want to use, this Ukraine war, or if you can say Russia-Ukraine war, uh, has been full of crusts and troughs, as we see it from the point when Trump has started fascinating towards, or you can say, infatuated towards the Nobel Peace Prize. So, bringing peace in Ukraine is one agenda, and whatever it may cost. From if you see from the chronology perspective, it was U.S. who prepped it up, made Zelensky to provoke Russia with all the actions they have taken. Now, when Russia has attacked, and there would be a group of people who will justify it, but there would be a group of people who will always have a counter argument and say, hey, this is a sovereign right of a country where they want to be with Europe, or they don't want to be Europe, or they want to be NATO, or they don't want to be NATO. But every country has their own point of view. But from the geopolitics standpoint, what matters is, do you have it in you to make sure that people listen to you? And that's what Russia has done, exercised his enormous strength and tried to crush Ukraine. You have to give it to Ukraine that it has been now years after years that they have resisted Russia. Obviously, kuch nahi hota until unless almighty US would not have been, you can say, supplying arms and ammunition. But it has been in a way that Ukraine has been taking punches on their chin. Or I will say, Ukrainian army has been taking punches on their chin. You may hear stories कि वहाँ पे बूढ़े हैं, all that stuff, but the reality is they are giving run to the money to Putin and the Russian army. Had this been something like Pakistan, they would have dropped their trousers and left it within 11 days. But now, if we see the dynamics changing at this point of time, and what has transpired is the Nobel Peace Prize fascination has triggered so much that Zelensky is out of lot of options. Obviously, Europe is supporting and backing it up, but at the end of the day, Europe के बस का भी उतना कुछ खास है नहीं, because if you see from the arsenal perspective, They have only that much if they can defend if there is an attack from Russia. They cannot go all out war because they don't have a preparedness. If you see their army right now, although UK is saying they're on a war footing, doing all the what we call that peacocking, but the reality everybody knows. They may have a strong punch, but they have only one or two punches in their bag. Another one is you can call it the key axis in the NATO bloc is France, and third is Germany. Bit of a Poland, but the big, strong, bulky armies are there. When I say bulky, comparatively, but if you see their armies as well or the air force, it's very limited. They're very strong when it comes to fighting against Afghanistan. But for the formidable army like Russia, they don't stand a chance. At least from my point of view, I can stand corrected, but they don't stand a chance. USSR broke down into multiple pieces because they had economic issues. This Russia doesn't have that problem. May have that problem, bit of it, because it has backing of China, some bit of India, and other BRICS nations. S- Russia can survive. Can it thrive? I don't know, but it can survive. Hell yeah. At least it can take punches, which makes it very dangerous. Now, in current scenario, from the beginning, Ukraine has been salvating that okay, we have to be part of NATO, we have to be part of European Union, but uh, as the tap is getting tightened from the US side, the the grip of Zelensky on these, you can say, demand is loosening up like a quicksand. Although, although Europe is backing Zelensky to an extent that it is keeping demands on the table, like they want Article 5, like guarantee from US, and security grant guarantee from European colleagues, as some other countries like Canada and Japan can provide that coverage if Russia had go for an invasion on the Ukraine. आपको समझना पड़ेगा जियो पॉलिटिक्स इज माइट इन जियो पॉलिटिक्स माइट इज राइट और जिलेंस्की भी उस बात को समझता है रशिया भी उस बात को समझता है आज अगर यूरोप केव कर जाता है और जिलेंस्की को छोड़ देता है इट विल बी अ बिग स्लैप ऑन द फेस ऑफ यूरोप एंड यूएस maybe they may spin it, the Reuters of the world and the BBCs of the world will declare, oh, this has been something really great and world peace. But the reality is, they are of their own. Yes, they can build a strong army. They have done it in past, but it will take a decade and a half. 15 साल bare minimum. 15 साल किसने देखा? Is there a formidable player in the market who can come, take up the slack, pull up the slacks, and jump in? I don't think so. US capacity है, capability है, intent नहीं है, because the cost is too high. Fighting head on with Russia is a too high of a cost because it can spill over from the western borders to the eastern borders. If it moves to the eastern border, forget about Japan. It would be the all west coast of US which will be on the fire or on the radar. And Russia has capability, intent, and capacity to engage there. Yes, US have a very good formidable technology, but technology can take you to a certain extent only. Now, is Zelensky ready practically, or he is making some concessions because his big daddy that is, Trump is putting a pressure on him. That is time to tell. But Europeans are trying to push pedal that, okay, we need to make sure that we have to give some concessions for Ukraine. Because अगर आप देखो ध्यान से, Ukraine has been taking all the punches and has lost as much as nobody has. आपने एम्यूनिशन तो उसको दे दिया पर उसने लोग गंवा दिए. Large portion of its army is gone. Lot of men and young men have been lost on the battlefield. Lot of cities have been turned into rubble, which will take hundreds of billions of dollars to rebuild. And I don't know who is going to rebuild. Russia, Europe can always come and say, hey, we'll do this, we'll do that, we'll do this. But at the end of a day, there has to be some, you can say, an end objective. But considering the Ukraine's total structure, Russia expanding their boundaries, it looks really difficult if that would be something which European companies would be interested in investing. Yes, some US companies will come, build some mines, start extracting some rare earth minerals. It will start exporting its natural resources plus some grains. But at the end of the day, what matters is, can it do it to the capacity what Ukraine can do? I have serious doubts in this. जो चढ़ जा बेटा सूली पे वाला बात कहा जाता है, वो बात हुई है यूक्रेन के साथ. Now take a scenario and take a step back and see. कल को यूक्रेन हार मान जाता है, द होल यूरोप वुड बी इन टैटर्स. कि कल उसके बाद अगर रशिया डिसाइड्स, ओके आई वांट टू गो फॉरवर्ड एंड engulf few of the European countries like Poland, which was ex-Soviet Union country, which is ex-Soviet Union country, or some like Lithuania, Latvia, or it may go towards the north as well, like your Sweden and Norway. उधर क्या करोगे? So these are the, you can say, chills which Europe is facing, and Putin is full control and understand those chills, and he wants to capitalize on it. So it will be very interesting to see how this pans out. Right now, both the daggers and swords are out, but Zelensky is ready to give some bit of a concession. I don't know if those concessions would be enough for Putin to come on the table. Because if I would have been Putin, it would have not been interesting for me. Because if you see from the perspective of Russia, जमीन का कंट्रोल ले चुके हैं, यूरोप को वीक कर चुके हैं, अमेरिका इज डिफ्रेंचाइज्ड इन दिस, सपोर्ट करता है नहीं करता है, यूएस हैज टू सीज देयर इकोनॉमी एज वेल, lot of investments are required. Let's see how that will pan out. Right now, Europe can take the mantle in their hand and come to the rescue of Ukraine? No. So, from my point of view, Putin will push the battle harder and harder and try to gain as much as concessions from Europe and Zelensky. On the sidelines, you have to see Trump is in the control of US. And Trump is ready to give in anything and everything for the Nobel Peace Prize. And if you have seen my, you can say, prior videos, it's very clear Trump respects power. He's a bully and he only respects power. So that's where the bromance and the dynamics comes into the picture. Very interesting element to see, and we'll keep a watch over it. And I'll keep you updating on how things are panning out. Now, the third one is pretty interesting one. US authorizes the sales of advanced technology and support Pakistan F-16 jets, maybe after pressuring India to buy more US weapons or take a step back from pacts like Relico with Russia, but if you see it in the larger gamut of things, 686 million are not going to break banks or give them, when I say them, that is Pakistan, a capability to have a superiority against India. So, in one hand, you want to strengthen Pakistan. Pakistan in turn strengthens its jihadi network and the militant organizations, and a fringe of that goes into Australia. That's what we talked about first, into Australia and start killing. That goes to the back to the what Hillary Clinton said. If you are going to have snakes in your backyard, they are not only going to bite your neighbors, they are going to bite you as well. Now, it's Western countries have to see to it these snakes are worth it or not. If I would have been part of decision making, I would have tried to question myself why I am supporting Pakistan. Yes, theoretically, there are a lot of things which Pakistan brings on the table. One is army, which can be at a disposal of America and ready to be slaughtered for few bucks. Obviously, that is there, but it has a land piece which gives access to Afghanistan. I don't personally see Afghanistan. Obviously, Trump has its own point of view and has a fascination towards an air base in Pakistan, in Afghanistan, Bagram Air Base. But if you ask me, is that a worth of a cause? And will America bleed another $1 trillion to make sure things happen? It's like a cash 22 situation. But on one hand, US wants to contain China through the airbase. But it wants to do it with the help of an ally of China who has been deceiving them for tens and twenties of years and still ready to invest and make a bromance couple out of it. If America is thinking that this is not only China but India as well, because India can be a future threat to the designs of US. Obviously, US is too large for India to take on, but in future as well, it will take quite a bit of a time. Obviously, US can slow the pace or derail the process through its cohesive and you can say cohesion. Sorry, I forgot the word. The the through its approach, so that India doesn't step up to the stage where it becomes a challenge or the challenger for US. If that is the case, I think even in that scenario, Pakistan doesn't have the capacity and capability to do that. Pakistan has been cropped up by China and it will still be the lackey of China. Being a lackey of US is still they get money. The moment the tap will be closed, they will be the first one to hit the Western belt. Now, we can do a complete session on it, how Pakistan is leveraging its, you can say, geopolitical location and making fool of the most intellect people through the the ideas it floats. And believe you me, Pakistan has been successful in the past, and I have to give it to Pakistan. They have been really smart in convincing West that Pakistan is very important. So be it. If Pakistan is very important, then they have to invest in Pakistan. These investments will not help. What Pakistan would require is hundreds of billions of dollars pouring every single month. We'll discuss in detail why I'm saying this and why this 686 million doesn't mean anything on the ground, because half of it may be taken up by certain individuals and it will be split. And I think by design, that is what even US has been giving them, buying their generals through this. That can be a possibility, but at the end of a day, you have to see what is the end objective they want to go with. And I don't perceive that what they are doing right now, showing carrots to Pakistan, will make that thing happen. So these were the few things that I wanted to cover. Already video has been long, 25 minutes already in making. We can discuss it in length in another video. Till then, I'll take your leave. Good night.